today to give you more information about the lease proposal that Nathan has spoken with Mr. Hoden about, and to answer your questions so that we know whether or not you'd like to move forward with a lease on the property. The typical lease is 5 years with 4 5-year renewals for a total of 25 years. We're proposing a 195-foot monopole property that has been proposed. Is here. This map is intended to show you the closest Verizon wireless sites to the proposed location. So you can see how there's sort of an empty space that is lacking voice, data, internet service, filled by having a site here on the middle school property, just there in the wooded area, roughly 850 feet from the school. The zoning map for the property and surrounding areas. Property is zoned P1, and under the Amherst County Code, property that's zoned P1 is desirable for wireless facilities. That's a tier 1 property. So property that's owned by the government or property that's zoned P1 is a top tier location for wireless facilities. And so we could proceed with that with a special use permit by going to the Planning Commission and then the Board of Supervisors. All of the area surrounding the school property is zoned residential, and so wireless facilities are not permitted in that area. So you can see how that would present a challenge to providing good wireless service when you can't locate cell towers in the area. So this is a closer look at the location of the proposed site in relationship to the school, and some photographs to give you a sense of where on the school property that would be located. The intent is to be away from school activities. Just an example of what a monopole wireless facility tower looks like. This is an existing tower in Louisa County. An example of what the ground equipment looks like. And you probably wouldn't see that because it would be surrounded by a fence. The scientific community has reached a consensus that cell towers like this do not have a detrimental effect on human safety. And again, the FCC regulates these. So we do not, certainly do not expect that this would have a negative impact on your students. We would start our application for the special use permit to get governmental approval, as well as all of the federal regulatory approvals. And then, of course, Nate would move forward with the lease agreement negotiations with you all. We hope we can have plenty of interaction with the community. Historically, cell towers weren't allowed in residential areas because of the way they looked. And when cell towers first came along back in the 80s and 90s, they were, it was a different technology. You really need them everywhere. And so to have a huge residential area where you can't have a cell tower means you will have people who don't have service. And so it's nice to have an area zoned for it in the middle of a residential area.
Awesome. I'd like to know that our public feels comfortable with it going in before we do sign a lease.
As someone that is probably directly affected by the cell tower, and yes, it's definitely needed in the area. I can vouch for that.
We look forward to it progressing, and we are curious as to what our community has to say about it.